6 years ago, Australians first heard the Uluru Statement from the Heart, calling for a voice to Parliament in the Constitution.
We seek constitutional reforms to empower our people and take a rightful place in our own country.
But that 2017 appeal spelled out steps beyond that too. A Makarrata process including treaty and a cultural reckoning over the nation's past.
We seek a Makarrata Commission to supervise a process of agreement making between governments and First Nations and truth-telling about our history.
Labor initially made promises back in the 80s.
There shall be a treaty.
A pledge it never delivered, now revived by Anthony Albanese's first words on election night.
I commit to the Uluru Statement from the Heart in full.
There was money for the Makarrata Commission last October, but nothing extra in the May budget. Senate estimates has revealed just $900,000 was put aside for this financial year, and not all of that was spent. The government says intensive work on treaty will begin after the voice referendum.
Treaty is what our people have been calling for decades and decades and decades, over 100 years, in fact. And to see that we're still tinkering around the edges with a useless voice that has no power, I think we've come too far in this country to accept trinkets any more than what we have been. The government have failed on their promise for truth and treaty.
Do you think a failed voice referendum would harm the likelihood of truth and treaty later on?
No, I don't think a no vote will harm truth or treaty. We need to continue to fight for peace in this country. And I think people are ready for that. They don't want something jammed down their throats like this and being told that if you vote no, you're racist. I think that's where the government have allowed this to be railroaded and become quite nasty.
Lydia Thorpe quit the Greens just before they compromised on their preferred order, truth and treaty to come before the voice. And a lack of a clear path forward remains a concern for the party.
We need an insurance policy and we need Makarrata. So we need this government to commit to doing that now. You can do two things at once. And on the Sunday when we all wake up, I do not want to be the person saying, well, what now?
Supporters insist the voice is vital to ensuring that truth and treaty are actually realised.
I just don't know how we would be able to do that when we are still voiceless in the community. You know, how would we be able to do a treaty process if we don't have a voice to have that negotiation with government?
Work has begun at a state and territory level. All jurisdictions except WA have committed to striking their own treaties. Soon the nation will decide whether to vote yes or no on the Voice to Parliament referendum, but negotiating treaties could take much longer. Months, years, or even decades to deliver.